All right, good evening, everyone. Today is February 16, 2021. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for yet another opportunity of prayer. We thank you for waking us up this morning, allowing us to see yet another day. I ask you, God, that you will bless my viewers, that you will bless myself as well as my guests. I ask you, God, that it'll be a refreshing and enlightening conversation. We give your name all the praise and glory that is due to you. In Jesus' mighty and matchless name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Welcome. I want to welcome everybody in tonight. As usual, you guys can you guys have any questions or comments, or any, put them in the comment section. Uh, Let me see. Yeah, so you good there? It's on your page. That's what
Okay.
I was checking real quick. All right, so want to give a birthday shout out to all the ones that had birthdays this previous weekend. I want to give condolences to everyone else that lost family members this week as well. A special prayer for the Jackson family. Former NFL player Vincent Jackson was found dead this over the weekend. So my heart goes out to his family. My prayers are with you guys. And our sincerest condolences. Um, I hope everybody had a good Sunday, good Valentine's Day. I know I had me a great Valentine's Day. I
Yes.
ain't getting no arguments. I ain't disappoint nobody. I ain't worried about having the wrong thing. I ain't picked the wrong thing to eat. But for everyone that celebrated Valentine's Day or Love Day, as some like to call it, shout out to you guys. Power to love. Before we get into the show, you guys have been seeing on my daily post this month, instead of doing things spiritual, I've been doing a little piece on or posting different pictures of people that are people that are a part of my Black history, our Black history, but are significant to me personally. Um, and yesterday I got lost track because I really don't keep up with that stuff. But yesterday was actually President's Day, and I'm thinking it was going to be next Monday. So for President's Day, I wanted to give a shout out, and I wanted to actually use her, but it was too late. I used Benjamin Banneker yesterday, but shout out to Miss Shirley Chisholm, the first African American lady to run for president in 1972. Big ups to her. You are a part of Black history as well. So, shout out to Miss Chisholm. Um, so, with that being said, we're going to jump on into tonight's show. Tonight, I got a special guest. I'm excited to have her on. I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell a little bit about her. Then we're going to get into her story. For some reason, I feel like you come from good stock. A good family basis. Introduce yourself to the viewers and tell them a little bit about yourself, Day.
Yeah, so I'm Booby's favorite cousin from Maryland. A little bit about myself. I'm from Maryland. I we were supposed to do this last week, and I was we were blaming out on the enemy and all that, but I'm gonna just go ahead and chuck that to God, because God is very intentional, and me being able to go and share that on my pastor's page of what I was going to talk about today. I was able to talk to and so many people, them texting and calling me and DM me. So it was very encouraging. They were very encouraged by my testimony. So I thank God for that opportunity. I'm not even going to chuck that up to the devil. I'm gonna give all praise to God for that. So, and I'm glad to be here.
That. I like that.
I'm not giving no
I,
credit.
I was definitely chalking it up to him. But one thing I definitely agree with you is, and I was teasing your mom, I said it's something about when the Bergmans try to get a testimony that the devil just stayed busy, because we went through the same thing when I had Kev on the show.
Yeah, that's I heard about the struggles.
And he was, when I say he was so disappointed, but we got together and we did it the following week, and God really had his way. So, like you say, in God's timing, according to God's plan, tonight was a night for the viewers to be able to hear your story and you share your testimony and all that there.
Exactly.
So, with that being
said, somebody's on here that needed to be on here that wasn't on here last week. That's what my hope is.
Yeah, absolutely. He works in mysterious ways, and I don't question him. I just thank him for it. So, with that being said, though, we're going to be talking about sexual orientation tonight. This is something totally different, or the first show of this kind. But y'all know me, I'm an open book. I like to keep it candid. I like to have real conversations. Mm-hmm. And first of all, I wanted to thank you for taking out the time to do this, because everybody's not always comfortable with sharing their testimony or their story. So I want to thank you for, first of all, taking out the time to do it. But I also want to big you up and thank you even more for allowing me to do it on this particular platform. You know, I'm honored that you would allow me to have this here and that we could have this conversation with the people, freely amongst the people. And that's the thing at the end of the day, guys, like I said, anything, any little thing that helps anybody get through whatever it is that they're going through. You know, that's one thing one of my prayers about this show is that as you guys view these shows, you know, you might not be going through some of these things personally yourself, but you may know someone that is going through them. Right. And you know, a lot of times when we going through things, we feel like we going through things of ourselves or nobody else knows what I'm going through. It's like, it's funny how all these billions of people in the world, we all feel that way. Like, but no, none of us, everyone has a story. So I thank you for taking out the time to share your story on this platform. And with that being said, I'm gonna let you guide the ship. I'm gonna let you go however the Lord moves you and start wherever you want to start.
Yeah, so I want to start by thanking you also for this opportunity. Little did you know, this is actually a answer prayer from the beginning of the year. You know, everybody does their vision boards and all that stuff. So one of the things that, you know, I really asked God for was an opportunity to share my story, more opportunities to you know, tell people what he's done for me in my life. And then you literally hit me up like 2 weeks later. I was like, hey, you know, I want you to come on and do my show. And I'm just like, wow. Dang God, like I didn't know you was gonna move that fast, but wow. Okay, like let's go and do this. That's when you called me up at Deep Creek and be like, you know, hash everything out what we was gonna talk about. And I was just like, okay, this is how God wants to do. And you know, it's kind of you know, scary because, you know, it's a vulnerable topic, but I'm just in a position where I'm just ready for God to be using me however he sees fit. So I thank you for this opportunity to share what God has placed in my heart. So,
no doubt.
Yes. So quick synopsis before I get, you know, too deep into my testimony. I was in a homosexual lifestyle for about 10 years. 6 of those years, I was in an actual relationship with a female. You know, growing up, I grew up in church. I grew up watching my grandmother pray over us. We went to her church in New Jersey, and even my mother, I saw her relationship with God. And so I always believed in him, but I never really had a true relationship with God until, you know, I needed him to pull me up out of this lifestyle, pursuing this lifestyle. So, you know, looking back now as a person who is, you know, very much so attracted to men, I've always had a desire to be married with my husband, have a huge family, have a whole bunch of kids. You know, everybody knows how much I deeply desired to have and experience those one day. So looking back, I'm like, how did I get here? Like 10 years later, a whole relationship, you know, something that wasn't naturally a part of who I am became so deeply ingrained in my identity and, you know, how I ultimately saw myself. So, you know, I thought about this, like the Lord, I know he has a plan for my life, just like he has a plan for your life, Booby, and everybody that's watching this show. But it's also, I also believe it's the devil's job to try to, you know, infiltrate and destroy that plan any way he can. So, you know, looking back to when I was little, I can see how the enemy was sort of like, you know, planting seeds to help cultivate like perfect little situations that ultimately made homosexuality something that was very easy for me to get into. And I'm not saying that the devil like made me gay or that, you know, it's only because of him that I pursue this lifestyle. Like I definitely made intentional decisions on my own free will to pursue that. But I also know that it's a very spiritual world that we live in. I believe that wholeheartedly. Just like God is looking for people to build his kingdom, the devil's searching, you know, prowling, looking for hearts to build his kingdom. And, you know, I deliberately made decisions to not agree with the plan that God had for my life. So yeah, my childhood, I mean, just like I am now, I wasn't the girliest of little girls. I mean, I enjoyed, my mother bought us dolls. I enjoyed playing with them, but, you know, I was considered what the world thought was a tomboy. You know, I love dolls, but I would rather go out and play basketball, go build a ramp in the back of my house to see how, you know, far I can launch my bike off, you know, typical boy things. But I'm just having fun. Like I wasn't like trying trying to be a boy. Like I enjoy being a girl. I enjoy being a girl now, but the outside looking in is like this little girl that want to be a little boy to people. And
And it
my
didn't help
mom,
that your dad taught you how to play basketball well.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm out there like hooping, like basketball dream. But yeah, so that basketball was my life. And my mom didn't believe in perming our hair. My hair is still natural. As you can see, I got locks. My sister the same way. So, she always put braids in our hair. We didn't really wear like girly clothing. It was just like basic, shirts and pants. So, I guess all that considered, people always constantly mistook me for a boy, like all the time. Like from little kids to grown people. I can't even tell you how many times I've been, people been called out as a boy. And it was, I remember it being little, like being embarrassed and like it being hurtful to always have to explain to somebody like, no, I'm not, I'm a girl. Like, it was just like annoying. I remember even, I was outside riding my bike outside my house one day and this car drove by and, screamed out dyke to me. And, I didn't even know what being gay was, but I remember being confused and I knew it wasn't nothing nice by the way they said it. So that was that. And then I remember my father
Not to cut you off, but while you there, you said this one happened very young at you. What do you think that did for your psyche? You know what I mean? Like you said, you don't know anything about homosexuality. You don't know what a dyke is versus gay or anything. Mm-hmm. What does that do to a psyche to a young child?
I mean, not even a psyche, but it's like I said, like we're spiritual beings. So whether I knew that from my mind, what was speaking to me, my spirit, like it was agreeing with certain things that, I feel like could incorporate not really my psyche, because I didn't know how to analyze that, because I didn't know what being a dyke even was for real. But I knew that it was a demeaning thing. And looking back now, I can see how like me not even knowing what it was, how people can speak, life and like identity over people. And I'm a little kid, I don't even know what that is. Just like people, have little kids now. Oh yeah, little Tyrone, he's gay. He's gonna be going to be gay. You don't even know. He's just what our idea, what we call feminine, a little more feminine or not masculine, but we speak identity over people. I mean, not even with them even necessarily knowing what that is. So that's what I took it up to.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and even my next example with my father, I remember him picking me up from school, and I'm like, third grade, 8 years old, and I get in the car, and he, asked me, did I want some cologne for the little girls in my school? And I'm just like, again, being confused, like, why is my father offering me something that I know is only for, little boys? Not to say that these things made me gay, but it's just like, parents, friends, like we had to watch how we, speak over people. Like we literally have the power of life and death in our tongue, whether we believe it or not, or whether the person is cognizant of what we're even saying to them. So, just being mindful of how we, speak to each other. So yeah, all that being said, whatever femininity I thought I had, it was constantly being stripped away by the words and assumptions people made. And, I don't even think I was even fully aware of how it really affected me until years later as an adult. Like, people's words hurt. And I'm still dealing with, trying to break down those, assumptions that built up over time. Our idea of how beautiful we are is usually determined how we think other people think about us. And I was never insecure. I'm not insecure now. I never thought that I was ugly, but because people always, mistook my gender, and I know that little girls that look like boys, they can't be the cutest thing. I believe that that's how other people saw me, and that mindset stuck with me. And so even though I was okay with myself, I also understood in myself that boys would never see me that way either. So yeah, little kid, the same thing, the same assumptions went on through high school, and we wore uniforms in high school. Like I'm literally wearing the same thing as everybody else, and I'm still being mistaken as a boy. And I even, found myself trying to change myself, wear the skirts, wear my hair pressed out in ponytails, just so people wouldn't assume or come to me and say certain things. And when I did do those things, it was like, it was the biggest thing in the world. Like, oh my God, the just wearing a skirt. And like, even my teachers, it's like being all extra. I'm just like, okay, why is it such a big deal? I'm doing the same thing as all the other girls in my class. But yeah, high school, that was like the first time I was really approached by girls. In high school back in 2009, the girls were really aggressive, and I'm, I'm a very timid, like laid back, chill person. It was just a lot, and it was scary. Like they were just so bold, just very aggressive, sending their friends up, asking them I'm gay, like trying to see what's good. I'm just like, oh, just leave me alone. And it happened all the time, and I hated it so bad. And I think my breaking point was this one girl will always be flirting and saying stuff to me, and she wound up writing me a letter and giving it to me, saying how much she liked me. I saw a number at the end with a heart, and I was like, I just crumbled that up, throwing it away. And I remember going home to my mom, like crying, like that day, just really upset and frustrated. Just trying to figure out why people keep assuming this thing of me. Like it just irritated me so bad. So yeah, always getting attention, constant attention from girls, never from guys. I didn't really have a lot of friends in high school. I stayed to myself. Like the two friends that I did have, they would always be going on double dates and stuff, and getting affection from guys that I desired for myself, but I never did. High school, the same thing again kept happening in college. But in college, it's like, straight up, you hook up whoever you want to. Everybody's partying, drinking, having a good time, having fun. And it was fun. But the problem for me, the only people that was really checking for me in college, again, was females. Like everybody thought that I was gay. And that, at this point, I'm going on 19 years old. This is a couple of years of this mentality that I'm dealing with. And so it just became easier for me to just go with what people assumed than to constantly have to defend myself and correct people. Like, no, I'm a girl. Like, it was embarrassing, like having to constantly defend not only my sexuality, but also my gender. Like, it got to the point where I didn't really say anything, and, not saying something is saying something. So I kind of also felt like I was in a like a reverse in the closet type situation. Like people were pushing me into like out of a closet I never was in. It was like, I felt
That's
like
good right there. That's a t-shirt.
yeah, seriously, I think I need to write that down.
Yeah,
It was
word
like,
up.
it's like I would like go to like say a party or something, and people will assume that I was gay, whatever. And I would feel bad for like correcting them. Like I didn't want them to feel like I was ashamed of being gay, or, I feel like I was denying my true self. And like, that's how it played out and like made sense in my head. It was like crazy. I'm sitting here like being embarrassed for something that truly wasn't even me, so that continues to happen. But, in college, I'm in an environment now where I can do what I want. Like, I'm grown. I'm 18. I can be whoever I want, do whatever I want. And, so when women showed me that they were attracted to me, it, affirmed me. They made me feel beautiful. They made me feel desired. And, I started to like it. And, being away from home, they don't know me. They definitely don't know my family. So it was like the perfect environment for me to be like, like, shoot, I mean, she think I'm cute. She cute. Why can't I just test this little thing out? I'm not going to keep resisting their advances. Nobody else is coming. So, why not? So yeah, I slowly saw myself opening my heart to, being available to that, making little compromises, and just putting myself in a position to fill that void with whoever wanted to, and at this point, I didn't care if it was women. They were showing me attention and I was here for it. So yeah, needless to say, that first year is when I met the girl that I eventually would be in a 6-year long relationship with. We met, we started talking, and we just didn't stop. From the nature of our initial conversation, I could tell that she was attracted to me. I was attracted to her. We literally did everything together. We were always together all the time. And I eventually found myself developing feelings for her outside of, just a friendship. And you remember we were at my house and we were talking about when I got into that relationship, it wasn't necessarily because she was a female. Like her sex didn't matter to me at all. What mattered to me was that this person valued me. She made me feel beautiful. I was desired. She was an amazing person. And, you know, the way she
gave you the validation that you have been looking
exactly. For. I didn't care. It probably could have been, I don't even want to say it, but it could have been anybody that confirmed me. And it was just like affirmed me. And I was with it. And it happened to come from a very amazing person. So let's go. Like, needless to say, I fell in love with her. Like, I never had that type of intimacy before. I never had a relationship, and I never even had that type of friendship before. So this is like a complete package all in one person. So yeah, that's how everything fell right in line to, you know, led me to that long, deep relationship. Now to backtrack a little bit, before we did anything, I gave a little disclaimer, like, because remember, I never, of course, been with the female, but I knew that what I was doing was wrong. I knew that God didn't approve of what I was doing. Plus, I knew I wanted a husband in the family. Mm-hmm. So I made it very clear to her, it's like, you know, we can do what we've been doing, but you know, I don't intend to be in a relationship with you or any female. So, you know, I was low-key scared. Like, it was, imagine being your first relationship with a girl. It was wild, but at the same time, I finally had somebody that I consider my person, and I wasn't about to let that go just because she was a girl. That wasn't enough for me at the moment. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she knew I was attracted to men, but we, you know, continued to keep doing what we were doing with no real intention of being together. But of course, that didn't work out. Whenever we would get too close, and I would try to, you know, I would pull back, or, you know, when we became too attached, and it was just very toxic. But it was never enough for me to say, all right, let me just let her completely go, because it was still feeling a very deep void that, you know, I was trying to fill. And, you know, my mom always tells me, whatever you feed is going to grow, and that literally grew for the next 6 years. So yeah, very, very toxic. We continued like that for many years, and to the point where she was just like, okay, how am I going to introduce you to people? And I was just like, your girlfriend? And that's how we became official. But yeah,
now, let me ask you something. Being that you didn't consider yourself, now I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said you didn't consider yourself as being gay, correct?
Right.
So how do you go from not being gay to finding yourself in a relationship with a woman?
Listen, to feel just like, I mean, we that's how we're built. It's just like we have a simple nature that needs to be met, and sometimes we do crazy things to fill those voids. It's just like, I want to say that all homosexuals are like, you know, addicts or anything, but it's just like it became my like crack sort of like, I know this is, you know, crack is not good for you, but you know how crack makes you feel, you're going to keep going back to it. Mm-hmm. So it didn't matter that this was something that was bad, something I didn't want to do. It filled a void that I began to cherish more than anything, more than how anybody looked at me, how anybody, whatever he thought. This felt good to me, and I was going to do whatever I had to do to keep this feeling. So yeah.
I got a question for you, and I want to speak to that somewhere. Hopefully, God will bring it back to my memory. Mm-hmm. But it's funny to me how much it's hard for me to word because I'm not like that. But for the average person, it's amazing. It amazes me sometimes how much we look for validation from the outside as opposed to within. Mm-hmm. You know, I need to lose weight because everyone else thinks I'm too big, or I need to gain weight because people think I'm skinny, or whatever the case may be. Whereas, how do you feel about yourself? Do you feel like you're healthy? It just amazes me, even on a spiritual aspect, how you know gotta give us something, but if it doesn't come from, we want that validation to come from our pastor. Mm-hmm. We want to go to our pastor and say, well, God shared this with me, and if they don't, now all of a sudden we feel some kind of way. Well, why should we feel some kind of way about doing what we know that God called us to do, even though the pastor didn't necessarily validate us? Exactly. You know, we got to get past this whole need of validation from the outside as opposed to within. But I got a question here. Jennifer asks, what were your circle of friends like? Did you hang out with other gay men and women, or were your circle of friends a mixture of a little both?
So yeah, like I said, when I met her, I had a couple friends here and there, but it's my first year. I didn't really know too many people. But she on the other hand, she was, very popular. Like everybody like gravitated for her. She had a lot of friends in the gay community, and her friends became my friends. So the majority of my friends at that time were gay men and gay women during that first year.
Now, do you feel like it was that way because just as people, one thing about me, I always tell people, I had mentioned on the previous show, just because we don't get along don't mean we gotta hate on one another either. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Did you feel like it was a lot of sense where straight men, so to speak, or straight women was like, oh nah, she over there on that side, so I don't even want to vibe with her like that did. She might be a good person and she might be cool like that did, but I kind of want to stay away from that. Did you kind of sense that from people?
No, I didn't really get that too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Towson was a pretty, um, open and like acceptable community, especially for the LGBT community. Like we had a whole group. We had multiple groups dedicated to having, safe spaces for them. You talking about a campus that had literally, we had transgender bathrooms, specifically people who consider themselves transgender. They had their own bathrooms, and we had a whole floor and like suite for people who identified as, gay, bisexual, anything, to go and have their safe space. So it wasn't on the campus.
That's
No,
different.
no.
And you said this is in college?
In college, yeah,
Yeah,
2009,
that's totally
2010.
different. That's totally different.
Yeah. So with me, it's like these people accept everybody. I was here for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was here for it.
Thanks for that question, Jen. All right, so pick up where you at.
So yeah, sort of like you said, like even though we were in this committed relationship, I never, self-identified myself as a lesbian or even bisexual. Like I never ever felt comfortable doing that. I mean, one, for personal reasons, I knew what I really wanted, and two, I knew it was the Lord that was literally keeping his hand over me. Like I never felt like it was the right thing to do, and that, oh, God didn't mind me doing this thing over there. I knew how he felt about it. So we went strong a couple months like that, and again, breaking up with her. I broke up with a girl so many times, and just a vicious cycle of just going back and forth. And on the outside looking in, like everybody was like, oh, y'all are so cute together. I love how y'all love each other. The whole time I never had peace. Like the whole 6 years, it was just torment. And I know this, I knew that she knew that, and it manifests itself in many ways in our relationship. But yeah, besides that, and the constant tug God had on my heart, it was also very stressful to have to hide our relationship around my family and friends when I got back home. Like, as you can imagine, we were together all the time. So of course she was with me around my family, my friends, and it was just like literally walking on eggshells, like trying to, compact this great person, this great, all these friends I have, to, tiptoe around certain people. So finally, after years of doing that, she got tired of it and was like, having to change our dynamics. And she, she really wanted me to tell everybody. And I kind of wanted to do it too, because it was like, it's tiring. It's like literally living like a double life. And yeah, I was tired of hiding this big secret, going back and forth, and tired of it tearing me up. So I decided to tell my mom, which was one of the scariest days of my life. Thought she was going to kick me out, all this stuff. But yeah, I knew if I told my mom, I knew that, one, she would probably shut everything down, and two, I was just tired of lying to her. Like, my mom is my best friend, and I was tired of holding this big secret, this thing that was a big part of my life, from her, and that she had no idea about it. But yeah, so I really appreciate how my mom actually went about it. Like I said the last time, like, she really gave me a glimpse of how God loved me. And I think that God is really calling every parent to do that for the children. That's the big responsibility I think he gives us as parents is to allow our children to get a little bit of what it feels like to be loved by God. Like she didn't, when I told her, I was like, Mom, yeah, this is what it is. Like, you know, Gia, my best friend, we're actually in a relationship. And, you know, she didn't yell at me. She didn't kick me out the house. I thought I'd go live with my aunt. But all she did was, you know, she corrected me and she spoke to me, you know, out of a love that was unconditional. And I was like, dang, like the way she spoke, I was like, man, I could tell, you know, she was hurt because she felt as though like, man, like everybody knew at this point when I told my mom, like everybody knew except her. And so I could tell that, you know, she wasn't hurt by what I was telling her. She was hurt by the fact that, you know, I didn't feel comfortable enough to tell her. And she, you know, she reminded me that, you know, she like DeAsia, like, you know, God, you know how God wants you to live. And she even, you know, pleaded with me, telling me about how she saw God take the hand off of her father's life, my grandfather's life, how he went from, you know, a God-fearing man to struggling for the rest of the later part of his life. And I was like, that's like my number one fear. I don't want to be down here claiming to be a Christian and then, you know, get to heaven and God was like, dang, DeAsia, like I wanted to do this with you and I wanted to bless you with this and I couldn't do this because you was down here doing what you want to do. Like that's I don't care about jumping on no plane, no heights. Like that is my number one fear, to, you know, leave this earth not doing what God has called me to do. So, you know, after that conversation with my mom,
shout out to the missionary evangelist Beverly Bergman.
Yes,
Tucker.
I love my mom so much. I love my mom. My friends love my mom. Like amazing woman, amazing mother. So yes, shout out to my mom. So after that conversation with her, and then all the torment and guilt, you know, it eventually led to me telling, you know, my girlfriend at the time that I couldn't be with her anymore. However, that was a whole process in itself. Like I still literally incorporated her in every aspect of my life. Like literally she was my friend. Like I didn't have her friends were my friends. I didn't have friends. So trying to just cut all that out, it was just very hard for me. Like I understood why we couldn't be in a relationship, but you're still gonna be my friend and we're still gonna do everything that we were doing before. So yeah, like it broke my heart to think that I couldn't be as close to this person. So that was a whole process in itself, but I knew I needed help in letting her go. I recognized that, and I knew that I needed to pray about it. So I would literally, you know, trying to not hang out with her as much, trying to, you know, focus on God and praying. I would literally be in my room just crying and like pleading out to God, like, Lord, help me, not take these feelings, because I mean, you know, I know that's not how God works, but you know, give me the strength to do this how you're calling me to do this. Like fill me up and let me decrease so I can do what it is you're calling me to do, because I'm trying to go to the movies with her tonight or do something. Like I'm in my room by myself. So yeah, but thank God he answered my prayers. Because I was praying for friends too. I knew that I shouldn't walk this out by myself. I knew that, you know, God wanted me to have a support system. So I was praying for that too. And he answered my prayers. I think maybe that week, we had a little involvement fair on campus where all the, you know, the social groups on campus come together to give out information to people interested. And literally the first table I walk in when I see is a campus fellowship group. And not only that, I was like, okay, cool, they love Jesus. But it was also Black people. I was like, yes, it's Black people that love Jesus on this white campus. I was like, yes, I'll be up. So that was cool.
Hallelujah.
Yes, hallelujah. Yes, I met a lot of good people. You know, joining that group really helped jumpstart my true relationship with God, you know, getting to know him on a personal level. And those people helped me realize that, okay, DeAsia, you've been doing this by yourself in your room crying. Like this is not how God intended you to do that. And you're not strong enough to refrain from going back to this relationship. So yeah, I was able to see that I needed God to fill my heart and not be relying on not just, you know, her, but any relationship outside of his will, to, you know, fill that void of not being lonely or needed to feel loved by people. So that was 2015. And so after making that decision to say, okay, I'm not pursuing this relationship, I still struggled afterwards. I still struggled, you know, with not getting back with my ex back then. And even other women that came into my life afterwards as friends, I still, found myself struggling. Yeah, and looking back now, I see that, I kept falling into the same temptations over and over again because I was literally having confidence in my own self. It was like, yeah, I know that this is right and that this is how I'm going to do it. So, I kind of set myself up because I wasn't really guarding my heart like I should have been. And I didn't really realize how the rejection and, opening myself up to those, that sexual intimacy in that way, how it really damaged my heart. Like I'm still processing all that stuff now. And, going into friendships, I was really naive. After I broke up with her, I was literally trying to replace that relationship with every friendship that, not every friendship, but with friendships that, I would, meet women and I found myself just wanting to spend all my time with them, and how I chose to care for them. It was just too much. Like I didn't, because you mind, I'm 18, fresh out of high school, I get into this relationship that's everything to me. And so trying to process friendships and how to do that afterwards, it was a struggle for me. So yeah, same cycle, but before God was able to really like, start that process of doing what he was inside of me. I kept setting myself up, but I thank God because he was faithful to me. He helped me, with that Bible study group. He helped me, recognize those things earlier now, and, still on the operating table for my heart surgery, but he's still keeping me on this journey, showing me how to be dependent on him. Because I mean, the temptations are still here. I still find women attractive. Do I desire to be with the women? Do I have the urges to, act on those things? No.
Hold up, Dave, real quick. We got a couple of questions. Remember, we had temptations, and I kind of wanted to hit on that too. One, Jennifer asked, was it hard for you to walk away from the relationship, friendship? And we got Anton Anderson asks, did your mom really not know, or was she more surprised by the confirmation?
That's funny.
Well, never mind. You ain't even got to answer that one because she just answered it for him.
What was the last part of the second question? He said, or was she really what?
Or was she more surprised by the confirmation?
We had a whole conversation about that too with her. I wish she can come up and try and give her a perspective on it. But
yeah, like I said, she just wrote a paragraph. She just answered that question in the comments.
Nobody could have told me my mother did not know. Like what she said, I can't even see the comments.
She said, I really did not know that my daughter was in a relationship with the woman. As such, it was not confirmation. You are not the only one that asked me this question. The only way that I can explain this is that I saw her as she presented herself to me.
And
that's
how the world should do. I was like, Mom, come on, you didn't, come on, Mom, you didn't know. And so she's just, but that's legit, and that's how.
And it's not co-signing, but to a certain degree, I could kind of understand from the simple fact, I'm a little bit older than you. I remember growing up, and it's not no knock, but growing up, your mom wasn't the most feminine woman that I ever known. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I knew that if I had a beef with even a grown man at that time, I wasn't going to get Kevin. I was going to get Ben.
I didn't heard the stories, yes.
Ken was the last person I was going to get to fight. I'm going to get Ben, like, because you knew if Ben showed up, like, yo, you got problems on your hands. You know what I'm saying? Between her and Jerry, you did not want those kind of problems in your life, yo. You did not want those kind of problems in your life. So I could totally get that. And I remember, like, Ben, like I said, I remember seeing Ben with the long high heels and the long dresses and all that. She was cool. Yo, what's up? What we about to get into? Right. You know what I'm saying? So I could kind of definitely understand that.
Yeah, I am my mother's child. Like we talk about the same things. She was like, cause I'm telling her, how I feel comfortable in the clothes I wear. She's like, I wear the same thing. I mean, if people don't do that to me, I'm like, Mom, I know. I don't listen. I get it. I'm literally her child. But yeah, what was the second question? I forgot it.
I think it was where you what did Jen ask? Jen, I don't know. The questions covered in the comments and last covered in so fast. I lost it, but
man, I can't.
The last one that she had asked are you attracted or were you ever attracted to men at all?
Yes, since I've never not been attracted to men.
Gotcha.
Never not been attracted to men.
All right, but so we had stopped off at temptation. Okay.
Oh.
Before you finish going there, one thing that I kind of want people out there, and this strictly pertains to my Christian views. All right, so I'm just coming from a Christian standpoint on this here.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I've learned personally is you can't be tempted by what you're not attracted to or what you don't like. You know what I mean? Now, I may be attracted to alcohol, but that doesn't mean I have to become an alcoholic or that I have to drink it all.
Right.
But it doesn't, just because I don't choose not to drink doesn't mean that the attraction to alcohol isn't there, because that's what I'm attracted to. You know, my point is, can't nobody attract me, or the devil can't tempt me with crack. Mm-hmm. Because, you know what I mean? Like I told you earlier, the devil can't tempt me with a good looking, fine, structured man. I'm strong. I'm comfortable enough in my male identity, that in my manhood, that I have no problem saying that's an attractive dude or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, only thing a dude could do for me is help me move a refrigerator. Right. You know what I mean? So he can't tempt me that way, because that's not what I'm attracted to. Now I could be trying to live for God all I want to, but you got that nice Coke bottle show up. You know what I mean? I got to pray, because that's what I'm attracted to. So that's the areas that he's gonna most likely use to tempt me in. Right. Now that doesn't mean that I have to succumb to that temptation, because why? The word tells us that greater is he that is in me. And that's why when you said something earlier, I made it a point to say, you know, it's a daily process. Because one of the things that I've learned is, I can remember growing up in Christianity, but when my divorce was finalized in 2018, my initial thought was, you know what, God, it's been a good run, and I enjoy serving you, I enjoy living for you, but there is no way in the world that I can live a abstinence life. It can't be done. Can't do it. It's impossible. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's just not gonna happen. Right. But one of the things that God showed me was, God can keep anyone that wants to be kept. Mm-hmm. That's the key right there. You got to we got to clean that up. And it was like, all of a sudden, it's like I wasn't fiending. I could watch movies and I see people kissing. I wasn't feeling no kind of way. You know, he showed me, you know what? And I really thank God for the little things. Mm-hmm. I thank God for big things, but I thank God for little things more, because it showed me on a personal level that I can't keep you if you want to be kept. You know what I'm saying? If you say that you really love me, if you really want to serve me, you really want to live for me, guess what? I got you. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I got you if you allow me to have you. And that's one of the things that I thank God for, is because I said it on previous shows before. One of the things that he's always shown me that I try to share with other people so that it can help them in their own particular walk is, listen, man, let's be clear. And I hope I don't offend anybody, but I'm direct. I'm an open book. Mm-hmm. If I could give up the sex, if I could give up the punani, if you could give up the alcoholism, if you could give up the crack or the whatever your vice is, what would you need God for? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? I get sick and tired of hearing people saying that once I get myself together, I'm gonna come on in. Mm-hmm. You know, I got to work a few things out, then I'm gonna give my life to Christ. No, you need to give your life to Christ right now, because you can't handle it by yourself. I could not stop sleeping around by myself. I couldn't wait till I got myself together. I needed him, because greater is he that's in me. This is a temptation so I always try to tell people is, be careful how power in the tongue lies and the death lies in the tongue, because you speak these days in assistance. You know what I mean? I can't do this, and guess what? You can't do it. But you can do all things through Christ if you allow him to work those things out in your life. So, you know, I encourage people all the time, man, listen, those hardships, those things that you're battling with in your mind, spirituality, everything like that, hey, man, listen, give it to Jesus, yo. And the thing is, what we got to learn how to do is, when we give it to him, leave it there. Stop picking it, stop putting it on the altar, and as we get up from the altar, we bringing it back with us. Mm-hmm. That defeats the whole purpose. So when you give it to him, cast your cares upon me. You see what I'm saying? He ain't tell you to let me hold it for a second. He said, give them to me.
Yes.
So that's one of the points for us to leave it alone. And once he delivers you, leave it alone.
Yes, and believe and know that you are free.
Yeah, no doubt. Yes. But my bad, I ain't mean to go on a little tangent.
No, you literally hit my next 3 points. Next 3 points. But no, yeah. So that's wanted to give the background on my story of how I, got into the lifestyle, stayed in it, and how I recognized that I needed God's help to get me out. So the next little part, let's have 6 little points where how I actually walked out those things and how God helped me, realize that I needed him on this journey to not keep getting in these entanglements or what you call it, whatever. So the first thing I had to do was I had to literally value God greater than my own desires, right? I had to know that God loved me more than this, more than my girlfriend, more than this community that, accepted me with open arms, just the way I was. Cause the LGBT community, they're like, it still is like some of the dopest people I ever met in my life. They accepted, they didn't want me to change, didn't, put things on me that I didn't feel I was, they didn't judge me or make it feel insignificant. Unlike the church, these people literally, welcome differences in people and they loved everybody. So, I ultimately had fun. Like the pride parades, I was there. The pride parades, all that. It became my comfort zone. So, I had to let all that go and know with all my heart that following God was truly better for me. Truly better for me. And you only get that understanding by reading his word. You're not going to know something is good until you read about it, or you can put facts behind it. So not until I did that was able to even see that God is better for me than this great, other lifestyle that I had made for myself. And if you're in the homosexual lifestyle and you want to follow Christ, like you're choosing, I want to lay this down, I want to follow Christ, that has to be your first step. Like that has to be your heart's posture. You can't say, oh yeah, I'm just following Christ, No, you say I'm following Christ. Like this is, put some weight on his name. Or if you don't, like you're gonna always be, subjected to those temptations if you don't make God big and valuable in your head. So that's what I had to do. Number 2 was I had to not only, believe in my heart that God was good and better for me, but that everything he said in his word is true. Everything he says in his word is true. And like, everybody deals with unbelief. If you're a Christian, you say that, oh yeah, I believe in God and everything. He's great. I always much trust in him. You're a liar. Okay. Everybody deals with unbelief. Some point in your life, you didn't believe God for what he said. Right. But I had to believe that, and how he says in John 8, where, if I set you free, you're free indeed. DeAsia, you're free from homosexuality. Walk in that. I literally, he showed me the picture of me literally like him breaking the chains off of me. And I'm literally picking up the broken chains and laying them on me. Like, walk away. Why are you still getting involved in these relationships filling void where the Lord is waiting to fill them for you? Stop entangling yourself with these broken chains that not even holding you captive. But yeah, another thought, I was just like, Asia, what if everything in the Bible is 100% true? Everything, that God is really who he says he is, and I find myself reading stories about, men that have great faith in the Bible, Abraham, David, Moses, Noah, they believed in God for crazy things, and imagine living a life totally dependent on God in everything, how much peace that would be. I'm sure everybody can think about something in their life that they're not really trusting God to help them pull them out of, or help them that they're struggling with this, or provide for that. What if you can truly get in your mind that I'm going to trust God no matter what? And I was like, the Bible said I have access to that. And I want that. Like, for one, I need that to get out of this situation. So I want you to get it. And I'm trying to apply that for the rest of my life. Like, how much peace? We have to worry about nothing because I'm a child of God. Like, what does that mean to you? It could mean the smallest thing to you, or it can mean the biggest thing in the world, where you could just go through life like a boss. Like, ain't nothing like tormenting me. No, nothing is bothering me, because at the end of the day, I know God got my back.
And the most beautiful thing about that is every person that you just named in there and the rest of the people that's in the Bible as well, guess what? They were all flawed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like David was the man after God's own heart, but David was one of the most shiftiest people in history.
In history. Trifling man.
And one of the things, and this is a personal thing, this is not theology, you know, but one of the things that just food for thought. One of the things that I like to put out there when they talk about David is, you know, look, David put his number one soldier on the front line to get killed.
Murder.
Just so he could sleep with his wife. David he did a lot of shifty things. But what David had to personally had to experience some of the hardships that he did.
Yes.
As in watching your own son kill another one of your sons, all because he raped his sister. You know how painful that has to be as a parent? But how much of that did David bring on himself based off his previous actions? So yeah, God forgives you, but sometimes, hey, there's a price to pay sometimes. But like you said, I think that's the beautiful thing about that. Everybody that you said they were flawed. And that's the thing that I want people to understand is because God has no respect to person. So the same way God could deliver David from being shiesty and being, you know, low down and dirty, he could do the same thing for Marvin. You know what I'm saying? The same way he could bring Moses out, who didn't like to speak in front of people who had a stuttering problem, to use him in the way that he did. You know what I mean? Like you said, but it all starts with us giving ourselves, I talked about that on the last show of the year, becoming the complete clay and let him be the potter. You know, we quick to say, Lord, you're the potter, not the clay. But like I always tell people, man, listen, you ain't never seen a piece of clay. Y'all just watch how y'all went to class. You, Key, and your mom making the thing. You ain't seen none of them pieces of clay. Ooh, that hurt. Don't be pitching me like that. Get your hands.
You see the piece of glass I had up in my hands.
You know what I mean? It does what the molder wants it to do. You know, and that's the same approach that we have to have God. Yeah, some of those things are going to be uncomfortable, but when we get to that level of trust, and knowing that at the end of the day, I can rely on you, no matter how difficult it may be hot in the fire, and I'm definitely in the fire, but guess what? Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I'm good because I ain't in this fire by myself.
No singed hair, yes. Didn't even smell like smoke. But yeah, I don't want to keep forfeiting my access to that life. These crazy, like you said, these flawed, crazy people got to walk in from so many blessings God bless them with. I want that. You know, I'm saying if God can take these tribal people, what more can he do for me? Mm-hmm. And I wanted that. So that was my motivation. Next one, you know, I had to really understand.
Hold on, one more question real quick, kid.
Oh, yes, more questions.
Day. Now that you have given your life to Christ, do you find yourself studying the word and scriptures regarding homosexuality?
Yes, I have countless books. Like I'm reading a book now. Is Can You Be Gay and a Christian? I'm really into Jackie Hill Perry. I love her books. Mm-hmm. Any autobiography I get come on my page, somebody telling us about homosexuality, I'm reading it. Like I really have a burden in my heart to help people who want to leave out a homosexual lifestyle and follow Christ. I have a burden in my heart to help and provide ways to help them figure that out. You know, how God is calling us to do it, because the church has gone about it the wrong way. Even, you know, us as a society, we haven't done right by, you know, people in this lifestyle, especially calling ourselves a Christian. And, you know, God have revealed the way that he plans to build a relationship with us, to call us out of not just homosexuality, but sin, period. So yeah, to answer the question, yes, I do. I enjoy that a lot.
No doubt.
And I plan to write my own book one day.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like I need to insert this right here for those that are watching. This right here isn't a show where we're bashing gays or have anything at all against gays or anything of that nature. Because we all, first of all, I have no heaven or hell to put anybody in. Mm-hmm. That's first and foremost. Second of all, we see even in Christendom, now we living in a day where you have gay bishops. You have. I've seen one picture of a church where the pastor is a man and they consider his husband as the first man of that church. So we read the same exact Bible, but their belief system is just a little different than mine. So it's not, I'm not judging you, but what I'm saying is I felt like one of the reasons that I wanted you to be able to share your story is, one, because we talked about it. And like you said, I'm glad you had brought that up, because that's one thing that always stayed with me from that day where we had that conversation with me and you and your mom. And you said it wasn't that I was ever attracted to women. I just wanted something. You know, I wasn't attracted to women sexually or physically. I just wanted that feeling. I wanted somebody to be attracted to me or show that they were actually interested in me. And I found that real, you know, I found that real.
People are attracted to men. People are attracted to women. I was attracted to the attention and the care I was getting. That's what I was attracted to. It didn't matter what sex the person was, or it became that eventually, I should say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All have sinned and come short from the glory of God. Amen. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we all broken people now. Ain't no God don't look at anything any different or higher, even though we all do.
And just another disclaimer, you know, because I have gay friends, I have gay family members. I have no problem with them. I love them just like anybody else. You know what I mean? Because I remember one time having a conversation with one of my gay cousins, and I could admit, in my younger days, I was a big homophobe. I was majorly homophobic. It wasn't because I was scared of nothing that was going on with me or nothing like that did. I just didn't want to be around it. You know what I'm saying? Just same way if I go to a party and y'all doing a whole bunch of crack over there, ain't no need for me going over that side of the room. You know what I'm saying? I ain't judging y'all, but that ain't my thing. So y'all do y'all over there and I'm gonna do me over here. You know what I mean? But he was like, don't get it twisted, cuz every dude that's homosexual, he is not attracted to you.
Right.
But it's something about straight people. We think that if we see a gay man looking in our direction, whatever, he must be sizing me up. Where no, you might just happen to be looking that direction, ain't even thinking about you. But one of the things that one of the reasons why I put that out there that we're not gay bashing is because I think it's important for some of these church folk, some of you that's watching. I need y'all to do a self-evaluation and get off your high horse and stop being so self-righteous. Because one of the things that I've said all my life and watching it firsthand is the church, especially in my era, the church is responsible for more abortions than any other organization. If we want to keep it real, because you know how many girls were scared to tell their mother because they were church going, God fearing mothers in the church, and you can't be putting a bad name on this family and bringing it in my house. You know, we were so quick to throw people away. Where the church is supposed to be the spiritual hospital. Right. That's where you go when you need help. That's when you go when you're not perfect. Because if I was perfect, like nobody in churches are perfect, from the pastor to the apostle to the bishop. Ain't nobody in no church perfect. You know what I mean? So we got to come off this self-righteousness a lot. And oh my Lord, they on their way to hell. They on their way to hell or heaven. Guess what? You're on your way to hell too, just don't know it. You know what I mean? Because but for the grace of God, there go I. So we got to stop being so judgmental when it comes to sexual orientation, when it comes to whatever people's vices are. You know what I mean? But it's funny to me how in the church there's so much emphasis on that's what I consider gay bashing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we don't have no problem with listening to their music. Well, that boy sure can direct the choir. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is it that if you're so anti this here, how is it that it still could be a part of your culture? So, you know, let's not be hypocrites too. You know what I'm saying? Let's accept people for who they are and allow God to do what God needs to do, not what we want to be done.
Right. It's not even that, like allowing them to, you know, have roles and stuff. At the end of the day, everybody's broken. It's just like, who are you to pinpoint how my brokenness looks before God?
Absolutely.
As compared to yours, when God looks at them both as they're trash to him. They're both trash. No matter what.
Neither are pleasing in my sight. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, even though it's not any gay bashing, I do believe that the Lord has a plan for sexuality. And I believe that homosexuality is wrong and is not a part of that plan. People like to say, God is love, or, love is love. And I even asked God that question myself, was like, what is wrong with me loving this person that loves me? God, what is so wrong with running about that? And, as a Christian, the answer I found was simply because God said so. Even though I don't personally or even morally find anything wrong with homosexuality, I'll say that, but that's not my standard. I'm not my standard. My standard is to see what God says about something, and that's what my Bible, that's what my truth is. So, yes, God is love, but he's also the creator and the definer of it. And that's with anything in life. Like, who are we to tell God how to run the world, or what the people in the world are able to do, what's right and wrong for the people to do? We don't have that authority.
You dropping some gems, yo. That's 2 thumbs up back in the 11 color
we don't
days
have
right
that
there.
authority at all. It's just that simple. Like, if God said this wrong, it's wrong. It's not. I don't understand it. If I was God, love who you want. Just make it make sense. Okay.
Say that one more time for me. God, what did you say? God is not only love, but God is what? The author and the creator.
Yeah. God. People say, well, God is love. You should love who you want. I got you. That is very true. But God is also the creator of love. Okay.
I like that.
And the definer of love. He's the creator of all things, meaning love. How are we supposed to love somebody? Who are we supposed to love? He's God. He's Alpha and Omega, not you and not your feelings. And that's just the bottom line. That's the easier line. I don't want to be in charge of what's good for me. It sent me to a lot of doing what feels good to me, and what I feel right has set me up several times. I'm safer over here letting God determine everything. Yeah. So, and the Bible clearly tells us, how we are to engage in sexual intimacy. Sex is not even mentioned in the Bible until after marriage. And the Bible tells us who we're supposed to be engaged in these activities with. It's supposed to be between a man and a woman. And, when we choose to affirm our same-sex attraction and pursue homosexual relationships, we're just dismissing the Bible, the Bible's divinity over that, and we start making our own rules. And that's not what God, intended at all. And that started back in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve.
In the beginning.
Yeah, when God said, God told them all of this is good. Everything in here is good. But that tree over there, that's bad. Don't eat from that tree. And what did Eve do? Dang, that tree looks good. I'm going to determine what's good and bad for my life. And right now, she allowed the enemy to convince her that tree was good for her. Immediately, she dismissed God's authority in her life, and she became her own God. And when she
put that whop on Adam, and his dumb behind said, "Okay."
And that's what we do. That's what we do. We become our own gods. We determine what's good and what's right for our lives, and we convince other people, yes, this feels good. This is how we're going to live our life. This is what we do, and we confirm and affirm it, and it just goes on and on and on. Every aspect of our life. Yeah. So, like, everything you believe about sexuality, whether you believe two people of the same sex can be together, your views on premarital sex, multiple partners, people out here being a hoe, like all those things. What you believe about sexuality has everything to do with how you see God and view the word. You can't say that, he's Lord over your life, but you can't say that, the Lord is Lord over your life, but I don't think God was right about that one thing in the Bible. That one thing that you think he's wrong about is going to cast doubt on who you think he is as a whole, and it's going to influence your relationship with him. And that's all the devil wants. If I can cast doubt on one little thing, he found one thing in the Bible that I don't agree with, that, throw the whole Bible away. Eventually, it's like, why would you believe God? Like, why would God put one wrong statement in the Bible, but oh yeah, the whole rest is true? I don't think God would set us up like that. He's too divine. He's too, all knowing, all powerful to set us up like that. And that's what people say, well, homosexuality wasn't a thing back then, or homosexuality wasn't even a word back then. How did you know about? I don't think my God would set us up like that to he has the power to do everything. He's gonna leave a final version of a Bible that we're supposed to follow and it be flawed and be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I don't think that God loves us way too much to do that. But yeah, fourth point. Any questions on that? People got questions.
Nah, there was no questions there. Just a lot of comments.
Okay.
Immediately, she knew she became on God.
I can't see nothing.
The tree of knowledge and evil.
Yes. The fourth thing was I had to cast down, the world's idea of womanhood and really focus on what God's idea of it was. Because that was just really, messed me up because I'm comfortable in the way I dress, how I act, America's all that stuff. But the world is telling me, no, if you do that, you're not really a woman. You're not really a heterosexual woman, right? Mm-hmm. So, even in society, even in the church, like we've made what being feminine is, what being masculine is, something that's not even biblical. Like, just because a boy likes to keep his nails clean and gets manicures, keep his hands looking nice, or a girl doesn't wear dresses, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Like, and I had to get in my mind, like, it's okay if I didn't perfectly fit that box of what everybody thinks a heterosexual girl should look and act like, because God doesn't even care about those things. He doesn't even see this outer body. He doesn't see any of that. So why am I caring what other people think? In Proverbs, where that mother is describing the ideal wife for her son, it is nothing physical that she describes. It's all
that's good.
That attests to her character. Is she taking care of her kids, taking care of her home? Is she faithful? Is she serving others, being a good steward? Is she seeking wisdom? And the Bible should be our instruction that I go to. Who cares what the world thinks? If I cared about the world thinks, or had need the world from me, I would still be I'd probably be married right now, probably with some adopted.
It shouldn't be, but it actually is. One thing that I learned, one thing God gave me, and I've seen it other places since then, so I'm not nobody original. But one of the things that God gave me personally in 1988 was Bible. That's exactly what it is. Bible stands for Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. That's what the Bible is. It's an instruction manual. Yes. It's a guideline for us. All the answers in there? Absolutely not. But there's enough in there with plus a relationship with God.
There we go. What? That's the key.
You got to have a relationship with God, because if you don't have a relationship with God, it's no different than reading any other book in the library.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But it starts with that relationship. You got to have a relationship with God. And as you grow that relationship with God and spend time in his word, that's why we also need the Holy Spirit. Because the Holy Spirit is now, we don't have to go based off of Marvin's interpretation or DeJa's interpretation, but the Holy Spirit is saying, no, that's not what I'm saying there. This is my intentions here. This is what I mean. I don't mean that literally. I mean that historically, in a historical context. You learn how to put things in its proper context. Philosophical versus historical. The Bible, everything is in the Bible always isn't literal. The proof of that is the book of Revelations. He talked about something the days that's to come. So being that it is to come, he couldn't have known what's going to happen just yet.
Right.
So you know what I mean? You can't take that as literal. Right. But that's one of those things that we got to learn.
Yeah, and like you said, me and you could read the same verse, and the Holy Spirit can use that same verse to speak to a whole different situation in your life, and I'm in a whole different thing of mine. It's like the Bible. Yeah, the Bible is the only book that, as you read it, it reads you back. It reads you back to itself. Like that's what Mike Todd said. And another thing is, it's like we use instruction manuals for everything else in life. Like if you buy something from IKEA, you ain't gonna just try and figure out yourself. Well, some men do. Some people do. But you ain't gonna just try and put the big old thing together without reading the instructions. And just think of the Bible as your instruction manual for life. Like don't try to do this life without God. He didn't set it up like that. He didn't set this world up for us to be able to survive in peace and joy how he intended to without him. He intentionally made it like that. So yeah, the next point where I had was that I had to realize that my temptations didn't define who I was. You know, people get so offended when anybody speaks of, badly against homosexuality or against homosexuality. And I think that's because people don't look at it as, a sin they're doing, but it's who they are. It's like, you're not attacking me as a person. You're attacking me as a person, not something that I'm doing. And people just get, so offended, so riled up when that's not the approach that people do, but that's not the approach that God is taking toward it, or any Christian should take toward it. In the church, homosexuality has become such, like you were talking to, they put on a big pedestal, like the people who are in this lifestyle are just, untouchable people that God can't change. And that's just not right. Like, people are just set in their ways and just like, oh, well, y'all stay over there, like God can't do anything for them, when that's not God. That's not how God sees them at all. Like, God is way more powerful than that. Why are we putting God in a box? And we do that constantly. Like, you're saying that you believe, you read these stories about how God can split open a sea, let a whole group of people walk through them, raise a man from the dead, do all these crazy things, but he can't help somebody who truly wants to change their sexual orientation. What? That doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, and people judge, and they think that, homosexuality is just this big thing, when whole time, like I said before, we're all broken. You're judging this person for being gay or walking in this lifestyle, when whole time you beat on your wife at home, or you're I don't know, pick any sin. You're
Sleeping with half the church.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, why are we picking and choosing? We gotta get back to seeing ourselves, which I'm in the process of doing now, and other people, how the scriptures describe us, how God sees us, period. But someone's sexual orientation, their mannerisms, none of that matters. It doesn't matter to, God can still transform us no matter any of that stuff. And that's how we have to think. It's like, in this world, it's like, so I feel this way, that's who I am. And we conclude that our sexual orientation is our identity, when Christ is like, there's so much more. I done made you. There's so much more to you than how you think you identify sexually. See yourself how I see you. Like, I'm trying to do great things, and there's more things that I'm imparting in you than this thing you're putting on yourself. So instead of saying, I'm gay, I can't change the way I think about God, like the word, it just doesn't make no sense to me. We should be saying, I believe in God, so he can change how I feel about me being gay. We gotta flip it. Like, we gotta put more weight on who God can be in our life. If you're sexual, if sexuality is a primary lens for which you see yourself and how you understand yourself, which I did for a while, instead of being a child of God, I'm a child of God, and recognize the power that puts on you. Your temptations will always have a hold on you. Always have a hold on you. If you identify as I'm this gay person and this is who I am, you're always going to be subjected to your temptations over and over again. And giving them, way more power than they deserve. And like I said, that's what had me stuck for way longer than I had to be. Those attractions would come, and I would conclude, hey, this is here. This is who I am. And, became very frustrated because this is something that I didn't want to deal with. Wasn't how I identified myself, but it's easy for me. Like, it was easy for me to get into it. And on another hand, I'm just like, if God said he delivered me from this, why is it something I'm still struggling with? When my pastor, he said he did a message that really helped me process that. And it was a story about how, when an evil spirit leaves, how the first thing it's going to do is go back to the home that it just came from. It's like, why would it go try somewhere else when it had already built? It got Netflix set up in there. It got a nice, refrigerator. Why would he go back anywhere else? And I'm gonna go back to see if the home I just left is vacant for me. And I wasn't filling myself up the way that I need to. So of course it's gonna come back. And that's why I get myself caught up again. But on the other hand, too, is like, once you are, filling yourself up. You're following God the way you want to. You're going to church, reading your word, and you still find yourself tempted about those things, which I find myself doing the same things. The Lord said, it's okay. Like that's how the devil operates. He's going to keep trying the same thing over and over again. So it's not to get frustrated. Oh, I'm still being tempted on those things. No, you stand firm with what the Lord tells you are, and where He's taking you. It's just like thieves and robbers. Like they're not. If one MO works, one way they work, the same thing they're doing keeps working. Why would they change up how they go about getting what they do? And I just attributed to that. So that really helped me out. Like there's no frustration when I find a girl attractive, because I know I'm not defined by that. That there's more imparted into me than just my attractions. And then the last thing I want to talk about is recognizing that if God is telling me to end this relationship, not pursue this lifestyle, He would give me the power to do that. It's like DeAsia, the thing that you want is something that agrees to what the the word of God tells you want to do. Why would God not help you do that? And I had to get in my mind that the Lord had my back and walking these things out. Most Christians trying to get out of homosexuality are defeated, not because they got girls constantly coming down their back or like trying to get with them. It's just that we rely on ourselves way more than we should. And another thing is, it's like when we don't have that, we also get frustrated because we think that I got prayed over on Sunday, I should be immediately delivered. Like we think God is like a magical genie. We get frustrated when He just doesn't change everything in one day or one prayer, when that's not how God works. Like He's a perfect gentleman. He's not gonna push Himself on you. That's like making robots. What He desires is not for us to just not stop having sex or doing things outside of marriage. He wants to have a relationship with us. So it's not a matter of just stopping these things. It's about pursuing the Lord. Yeah. So once we really like decide that, we literally become reborn. It's a whole process. It's not about just refraining from these things. It's understanding, recognizing that I need God to do this. In our natural state, we're completely unable to please Him. We just can't do that. Like we need His help to not engage in these sexual urges. It's literally impossible. So after becoming a new person in Christ, the Holy Spirit inside us literally allows us to even be in a position to attempt to honor God with our bodies that way. Like I said before, we're literally not made to go through this world without Him, without His Holy Spirit. And He's just literally waiting patiently for us to realize, hey, like you need me. You can't do this by yourself at all. And my favorite person in the Bible, Paul, like he literally like lays it out so perfectly in Romans, and just like I relate to him so much. He talks about like trying to do good. It's like, God, I literally can't do that. It's like something inside of me that's like keeping me from being able to do what you're telling me to do. I don't know what it is. And his answer was literally Jesus. Like we need Him to do that. You cannot do it by yourself. You can't. That's it. And then it's way more. Well, after walking out this journey, He's shown me that it's way more deeper than just homosexuality or stopping sin. He's trying to, and He has like transformed me in so many different ways. Just like the person asked me, do I have books and stuff I read? I literally every day I'm ingesting new texts and like different ways to comprehend and break this thing down, so I can be a better communicator of this. Like it's a passion for me now. A couple years ago, I wasn't trying to do this. Like it was born for me to even read the little verse of the day, like but now I enjoy it and I find happiness doing it. Like it literally fills me and sustains me. So yeah, that's my little journey in a nutshell. It's still going. I'm excited to see where the Lord is taking me. It's like I had like 20, 30 more steps, but these are the 6 ones I want to, stick to keep it concise. But yeah, that's it.
Man, I appreciate you. I thank God. I thank you. I'm glad we did this. Thank you for accepting my friendship finally after 3 years too. I meant to tell you. I meant to mess with you about that. I can text you in there.
My Facebook booty.
Yeah, I know you ain't big on it. You know what I'm saying? But I really thank you for taking out the time to do this. Shout out to Pastor Bruce, Pastor Latoya.
Yes.
Thank y'all for tuning in. And the relationship, and I encourage all the viewers as we wrap up that that's just what I feel on my heart, man. Not to just pray for you, but to pray for me, and more importantly, pray for one another, man.
Yes.
It's important that we really pray for one another. The Bible talks about where there are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. So, a lot of times people might understand, because like you said, somebody might not. They may look at homosexuality a certain kind of way, but at the same time, they living with somebody that they're not married to, sleeping with them on a regular. So how is that any different from God's perspective? How are you a better sinner than somebody that's sleeping with somebody of the same sex?
Exactly.
No, it's ungodly. It's ungodly. But we see that so many times in our churches, and we see people that's in these type of relationships that are actually active in church, which baffles me sometimes. You know what I mean? Because why would you even set yourself up for like that? You know what I mean? When I first gave my life to Christ, it was like, okay, I know you don't normally do this, but I went to my bishop like, look, I need to be married within the next 2 weeks. you know what I'm saying? Because for one, I done got an apartment and I ain't gonna be paying for a place that I ain't staying. Right. But I knew if I stayed there, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So why would you even set yourself up for failure? Well, no, we just platonic friends. Okay, let's see how long that lasts. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear that you just got to have your other half of the bill. Whereas opposed to you got the deacon, who every chance he get, he's sneaking out to the parking lot because he got a pint underneath his seat.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So let's be real careful how we look at it, or how we judge other people's sins, when knowing that we are all sinners saved by grace.
Yes.
So we got to have more compassion like Christ. And one of the things in closing that I want to say is, you said it earlier. God is love, but how can you call yourself a Christian? How can you call yourself a follower of Christ and have God living through you, but yet you don't have no love?
Yes.
You don't have no compassion. You see what I'm saying? When you look at the life of Jesus and the way that Jesus moved, when we study Jesus' life and the way he moved, guess what? Jesus wasn't chilling with the other bishops and the apostles.
Jesus was in the trap house, in the strip clubs, in the hood. That's what Jesus would be at right now.
He was in the hood. Yes. He was with the poor. Yes. He was with the prostitutes. You see what I'm saying?
Holding hands, laying hands. Yes, on the people that needed him, not the self-righteous Pharisees and people out on the corner, put it on the front for everybody.
So we gotta keep things in its proper context. It's easy to judge somebody like I forgot how the old saying going, but it's easy for you to talk about the piece of wood I got in my eye, but you got a whole tree in yours and you can't see. And we do that so often. So I want us to all, people that pray and have a relationship with God, I want us to do me a favor, and as you spend your own personal time in prayer, ask God to help you personally in that particular area. Because some of the times we could be judgmental and don't even realize it. Sometimes we could be looking down on people that don't even realize it. So that's why it's more important for us to stay humble before God. Because like I said earlier, except for the grace of God, there goes I.
Exactly.
I could be that person shacking up.
Who are me to judge?
Can't do
it. To somebody. I don't know who said that.
Can't do it. Won't do it, man.
Yes.
So, man, like I said, I thank you again. Shout out to Bev, Mike. I think I love my family, man. I love you. I love you for telling this story. And I know that I'm positive, whether people will tell you or not, I know that this was a blessing to people. And I know it was refreshing for people to hear this here, because now all of a sudden, even you talking about your relationship with your mom and how your mom handled it, how you thought she was going to react. Right. But yet, no, that this episode helped the parent.
Yes.
That if they ain't going through this right now, they may go through it down the road.
Yes.
And now when they went, hold up, I remember the episode where I seen her moms handle it with love. Yes. And she showed her the better. And that's that, you know me, I always said I plan on being cremated, but if I didn't, I would want that on my tombstone. You know, I could show you better than I could tell you.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make any sense how much I'm talking about I'm living for Christ, how much I love you, and people can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense whatsoever. So you could carry your Bible around all day, every day. It don't mean you did no more saving than anybody else. So let's put things in its proper context, stay humble before the Lord, and ask God to show us the error of our own ways.
Nice.
While we still continue to keep each one another lifted up in prayer.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
So did you have anything that you wanted to say in closing?
I didn't have anything, no.
All right. So again, I want to let me see. Yes, I believe many people will be blessed from this. Yeah.
Yes.
Star Duker. Ears haven't heard and eyes haven't seen. Thank you, Deja, for telling your story. I'm so glad I tuned in. Michelle, Regina, thank you as well for tuning in. So, and all you people that came in on Deja platform, we do this show every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. here on Facebook on my page. So you're more than welcome. My page is public. So you're more than welcome to tune in any shows. All these shows aren't always this heavy. We do different topics every week, you know, or, you know, just various. But God gave me and put it on my heart to give a show to the people. And when you told me about when we had that conversation and you felt like, and it's funny how you talked about that earlier, because I had no idea. I had no idea that even us doing this was an answer to your prayer. You know, like I said, I thank God for like the little things. Here it is in your personal time, God. I really want to be able to share my story. Seriously? And here it is. And because I'm gonna tell you, I have been thinking about it. I'm coming up on a year doing the show, and I always thought about it. But I'm like, you know, like me and you had never even talked about it personally,
right?
So it's like I don't know how to even present that or ask the question. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how we even started even talking about that in my house though. It was
a God thing. It was literally a God thing because I don't remember either, but I just remember the conversation. And that's the thing I like about God, because one thing about God is his love is organic. You know what I mean? I wasn't even supposed to be up there that weekend, but we had a good conversation. I just came up there. Hey man, what's up? I'm on my way. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm known for. I'll pop in on you in a heartbeat. So don't talk about you, my family, or you love me, or if you're in town, hit me up and all that. I will call you on your bluff. All my family and friends know I will call you on your bluff. I will show up at the door. So be careful how you throw that out there, man. But the girl, know that I love you. Stay encouraged. Keep on telling your story, because like I said in the pre-show announcement, we are overcome by the words of our testimony. So never ever shy away from sharing your story. Keep it up. Stay positive, because guess what? In the process of you doing that, all you're gonna do is get stronger. All you're gonna do is grow more on God, and become more God-like and more godly. So never be ashamed of where God brought you from, man. Never be ashamed of it, because like I said earlier, God has no respect to person, and the same way he did it for you, he can do it to anybody else. Amen. If you allow him to. So with that being said, man, thank you again. Thank you for all you guys tuning in. We're going to be doing another show next week, next Tuesday. I'm going to have the residential doctor in the house, Dr. Danley. We're going to be kicking some knowledge, just having a conversation with my brother. It'll be the last show of Black History Month. So we're going to probably get into some of that kind of stuff there. And I'm looking forward to that there. But as usual, in signing off, thank all you guys for tuning in. Again, Dave, know that I love you from the bottom of my heart.
I love you too. I love you too. Thank you.
And most of all, as we usually do in signing off, DeAndre and Life should know that Daddy loves you unconditionally, but I also love you intentionally. Till next week, peace.